Hi, welcome to Loft 801. My name is Diego, and today I'm talking about Bonelake. Directed by Mercedes Bryce Morgan, it is an erotic, psychosexual home invasion thriller about two couples forced to share a double-booked lakeside mansion for a weekend that devolves into mind game seduction and very wet, very bloody chaos. Quick heads up, this review may contain the occasional minor spoiler, but I'll do my best to avoid them. However, I won't feel too bad if I spoil anything because this movie is okay at best. On arrival, the movie almost plays like a couple's dramedy, testing communication and boundaries. Sage and Diego check into a luxe rental when Will and Cin show up with the same reservation. Everyone agrees to stay. As the wine flows, flirty dares and insinuations begin, small offenses become power plays, and the game escalates. The weekend becomes a cat and mouse contest. Locked rooms, hidden kinks, and aggressively intimate party games culminate in bruising betrayals and weapons-grade domestic warfare on the dock and in the lake. On paper, this plot sounds good. However, in practice, it plays out very similar to last year's Speak No Evil. The only difference is that this movie is sexy. What Speak No Evil and this movie both get wrong is that they make our protagonists, the characters we follow, complete morons. These characters are dumb for the sake of being dumb. Diego is the worst character of all, and that pisses me off because we share the same name. He is the biggest, weakest pushover. He is a jumble of weak masculinity and impotence. He quit his teaching job to become a writer, and he's failing at that. He doesn't have the confidence to truly chase his dreams. Straight up, I think he's a loser. Marcopigossi does a great job with his role, but man, his character sucks. He's completely insecure about everything, especially his relationship with Sage. Maddie-hasson steers this movie's emotional spine as Sage. She's great at the I'm fine, I'm not fine routine with a tight jaw and twitchy timing that tips from awkward to furious. In many ways, she reminded me of Florence Pugh. They have similar quirks. Sage, being a resilient, headstrong character, reminded me of Marvel's Yelena. I think Maddie's chemistry with Marco is great. They come off as a couple that's trying to enjoy their relationship, but they have some core communication issues and expectations. Part of it is Diego's inability to let go of something Sage did in the past. It's an unfair strain on Sage. Part of it is Diego quitting his job and placing the financial burden on Sage. At first glance, their relationship seems solid, but as the movie progresses, it quickly becomes clear that they are on the ropes and close to a breakup. Alexroe and andranechita are both good as Will and Cin. They're both very slippery between their charm and coercion. They can be cheesy and campy, but that's because everything is a game to them. The sexual tension they have with the other characters is what keeps the dynamics in this movie interesting. With a title like Bonelake, that tends to fit the vibe. However, this movie doesn't have nearly as much sex or as nudity as I had mentally prepared myself to see. I think that's a good thing. The only nudity in this movie is in the prologue, and it's purposely gratuitous in what it shows and the violence that directly follows. Everybody in my theater winced and groaned during this scene, and I think that's okay because the movie lightly calls it out in a comedic way. Taking things back a little, I don't feel like I've sufficiently ranted about how stupid our protagonists are. For starters, when the other couple arrives, they simply take their word that they have the same reservation. They don't bother checking Airbnb or verbal receipts. It's just pure word of mouth. That is absolutely idiotic. If I book an Airbnb and another couple arrives claiming that they have the same reservation, double booking or not, I am not sharing the room because I was there first. I would never offer strangers to stay with me under such bizarre circumstances. Even less so if I'm with my girlfriend. My job as a boyfriend is to keep her safe, and I can't do that if there are some randoms sleeping in the next bedroom. Another thing that pissed me off about Diego is that he was planning on proposing during the weekend getaway. Will picks up on this and steals Diego's grandmother's ring and uses it to propose to Cin instead. Diego is shocked and angry, but he doesn't take it out on Will or get his ring back. He doesn't even bring the situation up with Sage. I guarantee that if he would have talked to her about even that one single weird encounter, she would have been fully on board to leave. She was already not feeling great staying with the other couple because they were aggressive and pushy. The thing that genuinely frustrates me about this movie and movies like this is that they purely rely on our characters being stupid. The plot only exists because they choose to make mistake after mistake and ignore red flag after red flag. The problem with having characters that are so dumb is that the bar is so low that by the time we actually get to the climax, I don't care if our protagonists live or die. I'm more interested in our sadist villains. Which, speaking of them, there is one really weird plot twist during the climax. It's a little off-putting and in line with the gratuitous nature of this film, but I think I'm gonna let it slide. It's kind of a shock factor thing, and I'm still not fully sure how I feel about it other than gross. Visually, I think this movie is pretty functional. The Airbnb is beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I would love to have a home like that with a private lake. I love the forest that surrounds the home too. It truly makes the setting feel remote and feels Friday the 13th coded. I think what I liked most about the house is how the villains treated it like a game board. They set up rooms and guided Diego and Sage to where they wanted. Diego and Sage were playing checkers while Will and Cin were playing chess. I think the soundtrack of this movie is also pretty functional. For a movie that's 94 minutes long, I think the soundtrack helped pace things nicely. I appreciated the sleaze strings and tense drones. It turned up the tension and felt more like a pressure cooker than a melody. I also appreciated the pauses because they let the awkwardness sit. I know this movie had a short runtime, but since it heavily relied on the two couples to force and push the drama and tension forward, I think anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes could have been shaved off from this movie. The best part of the movie was obviously the climax, and I think we could have gotten to it slightly quicker. The reason the climax is good is because of the gore. All I'm going to say is that there is a chainsaw and a boat propeller that make for some good spurts of blood. The final comment I'm going to make is that with a title like Bone Lake, we don't really see very many bones in the lake. Our characters never dive into the water and never see any skeletons. I think if they had, it could have added to the tension and forced the villains to reveal themselves sooner. Or it could have added more weight to the villains as deadly antagonists. This isn't really a complaint, it's just me spitballing ideas. Bone Lake is a glossy, grimy weekend from hell that's equal parts sleazy mind game and splashy bloodbath. Unfortunately, it's dragged down by protagonists who keep choosing the dumbest possible options. The house and lake setting, the cat and mouse structure, and the ending kills deliver the fun, but the speak no evil deja vu, the eyebrow-raising twist, and Diego's spinelessness drain the stakes. If you're in the mood for a stylish, psychosexual thriller where the villains are more compelling than the couple you're stuck with, this scratches the itch. If character logic is a deal breaker, this movie will drive you nuts. For me, this is a messy, somewhat entertaining ride that I wouldn't rush to recommend unless you love horror where every red flag is ignored. Thank you for listening to my review of Bone Lake. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and hit subscribe. If you did not enjoy the content, thank you for sticking around. As always, I would love to read what you have to say, so leave a comment and let me know what you're thinking. Also, if there's something you want to see reviewed, don't forget to let me know and I will do my best to get to it. Lastly, if you want to see some more from me, then you can check out my vlogs linked up above or my podcast Good Friends. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Diego and I will see you next time.